Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and this is my March favorites in beauty and lifestyle. So I'm covering skincare, makeup, fashion, other lifestyle things, some home items that I'm sneaking in there. This one is a little bit longer because I think I missed my February favorites, so I've got quite a few things here that I've been testing and trying out, as well as some old favorites. A lot of these beauty favorites are included in the Sephora Spring Savings event, which is happening from now until April 11th. I've also shared all of my recommendations in a video and a blog post, which I'll link below. But just wanted to let you know in case you want to get that discount while you still can at Sephora. Let's start with skincare. I'm very excited because I feel like every brand was releasing exfoliants and peels and scrubs, and I sort of feel like we're turning a corner and we're seeing a lot more hydrating products, barrier supporting products, which we all need after testing out all of these exfoliants. My first favorite is the Youth to the People Triple Peptide Cactus Oasis Serum. So this is like a watery fluid serum that contains hyaluronic acid, so it's hydrating, as well as peptides, and peptides help with anti-aging. They help prevent the loss of firmness in your skin. So this helps with both hydration and anti-aging. It doesn't have any fragrance. It sinks into the skin beautifully. Even if you have oily skin and you need hydration, you'll like this because it is so lightweight and fluid, but also very hydrating. Next up is the Summer Fridays Dream Oasis Deep Hydration Serum. So I know these are both called serums and they both have Oasis in the name, but they're very, very different. So this one is more like a gel cream texture. It has this really lightweight kind of light cream consistency, and it's also deeply hydrating, but it's a bit richer because it is a cream. So I feel like if you have oily skin, this will be a great moisturizer because it's a lightweight cream. Or if you have dry skin, it's a really nourishing, hydrating step before a thicker, richer moisturizer. Then I've got something very bougie, and I know it's bougie and it's not a need, but it's a nice to have. So this is the Vintner's Daughter Active Botanical Serum. So I recently had the opportunity to try out this as well as their essence, which I also really love, but this serum is their cult classic product for a reason. So it's kind of like an oily serum. It has a lot of plant oils and botanicals in it. It has this beautiful rich amber color. And I recently had the opportunity to be on a Zoom call with the founder. The way I think of this serum is it's kind of like a farm to face product. It's sourced responsibly, sustainably. All of the ingredients are made in small batches, and it's just a beautiful, hydrating, moisturizing, skin plumping formula. It definitely feels like an oil, but it has the lightness of a serum. So it really is like an oily serum texture. I use this under my moisturizer after my hydrating serums. It does have that botanical floral smell because it does contain botanical extracts and plant oils. So just be aware of that if you're sensitive to botanicals. For me, this has just led to barrier support. I feel like I've woken up with really strong feeling skin, calmer skin, fortified skin, and my skin barrier feels like it's strengthened when I use this. Plus it has this like aromatherapy quality. I like press it between my palms and I like breathe it in. It smells so beautiful and green and fresh, and I just press it into the skin and I seal over that with a moisturizer, and it's been really lovely to have. I know this is a very, very luxurious product. I think it's not something you need to go out of your budget for. You never need to do that for beauty, but if you are curious and you have the budget to spend comfortably, it is a really beautiful product. Then I've got a new eye cream in rotation. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Eye Rescue. This comes in her beautiful glass jar and it's refillable. So you can actually hold on to the glass jar, and now you can buy pods that have the refill of the cream and you just stick it into the jar. Here's what the texture looks like. It's really emollient. It's buttery, but it's not thick. It's really interesting because the emolliency makes it glide like almost like soft butter or like warm butter across the under eye area. And I find it to be extremely moisturizing without being heavy. So sometimes heavier and richer eye creams can cause milia, can cause texture issues for people. This gives you the richness of a thick cream, but it also gives you glide. I also like that this formula has retinol in it, so I like to have eye creams with retinol specifically because the eye area is a little bit more delicate than the rest of the face. So even though I use my retinoids, I like to have a separate eye cream with retinol just for anti-aging and maintenance. Then I have 2 new SPFs that I've been loving. I'm trying out quite a few different sunscreens as we're ramping up for summer because it's time to step up our sun protection. But the first one is the Beauty of Chosun Relief Sun Rice Plus Probiotics SPF 50 Plus PA 4 Pluses. So this is a Korean SPF that is a really lightweight lotion texture. It looks like this, and it starts out as a white cream. On me, it doesn't have a white cast, and it uses a lot of the advanced chemical filters that Asian SPFs use. It has very high sun protection, and it's just a beautiful, lightweight texture. You know, I also love my Isntree SPF. That one is a bit more fluid, but it's also slightly dewier. On me, this has a little bit more of a matte quality. Not actually matte, but more of like a natural skin finish. But it's still deeply nourishing and hydrating, and I think in the summer I can totally skip moisturizer with this. It's been hot on social media for a reason because it's just beautifully formulated. I will say my friend Rashawn, Glow Skin Guy on Instagram, I will link his page below. He does a weekly sunscreen demo. I love his reviews because he's so thorough and he's very thoughtful about the way that products will wear on many different skin types and many different skin tones. So on him, this had a slightly gray tone, and it did show in his facial hair. So that's just something to note. Again, just because something doesn't have a white cast on me, it certainly doesn't mean it doesn't have a white cast, period. So that's just a counterpoint to note, but Rashawn does amazing reviews in general, and you should definitely go follow him. This second SPF really surprised me because it's a mineral SPF, and I generally don't like mineral SPFs, but I really like this one. So this is the Josie Maran Get Even Sun Milk SPF 30. So this is a milky fluid that is so weightless and sinks in quickly, and it doesn't feel chalky the way that some mineral SPFs can. It's very cosmetically elegant. So it comes in a glass jar. It has this milky fluid quality, but then it kind of blends out, and it's very lightweight, and it sort of sinks into the skin and feels like nothing. And most mineral SPFs you can feel, you know what I mean? You can feel them on your skin. This one I can't feel, doesn't make me greasy, doesn't make me shiny throughout the day. And it's just one of those rare mineral SPFs that makes you forget that it's a mineral SPF. On my skin tone, it leaves minimal white cast. I do notice it under bright lights, but I don't think it's the kind of thing someone else would notice. But of course, if you have a deeper skin tone, it might be more noticeable. I don't think there's any mineral SPF out there that's truly white cast free. It's just a matter of how intense the white cast is. And to me, this is like on the most minimal side of white cast for mineral SPFs. Moving into makeup, let's talk heavy hitters. I've got the Byredo Flora Kalahari palette, which I reviewed on YouTube, and I've also shared swatches on Instagram. This is just a stunning 16 pan palette. It has a bunch of different textures, a stunning color story. It definitely leans into warm neutrals, but you've also got these really rich gemstone-like tones. And I feel like this eyeshadow palette is so wearable. And I know that might translate to boring, but to me, that's not true. I feel like even though a lot of these tones are maybe similar in the pan, they're so different in texture. You have twinkly eyeshadows, you have more smooth, creamy metallics, you have a few different matte tones, and it just always leads to a really beautiful, soft, sophisticated, interesting eye look, especially in person. So this has been going in and out of stock at retailers. I just saw it today on Nordstrom. Hopefully it will still be there when I post this video, hopefully tomorrow. So we will see. I'll link it anywhere I see it. It is $96. It's a high-end palette, but I'm happy to say that it does deliver in terms of quality and wear time and sophistication. I have a few eyeshadows, I guess, so I'll just get those out of the way. The next one is the Tom Ford Creme Color Quad in the Color Story Tiger Eye. I also reviewed this in a recent video, which I will link below, but this is the new Tom Ford Creme formula. It's a cream to powder hybrid. So it's creamy in the pan and then it sets to a powdery finish on the eyes. Not a dry powder by any means, but this beautiful satiny, smooth formula. Tiger Eye has 3 shimmers and 1 matte shade, and they are so smooth. The formula is not like a traditional cream. It's very thin. It doesn't feel like you're picking up a lot of product, but somehow you are able to reach full opacity in swatching or with a brush with just a few passes, and it blends out to such a beautiful pearly finish. The one note I have about this is that you will want to use an eyeshadow primer or a glitter glue if you have really oily lids. I really want to pick up the Smoky Quartz Color Story in this formula because I'm so impressed with the 1 matte shade in here too that I want a quad full of mattes, which is the Smoky Quartz palette. So I'm very impressed. Obviously, Tom Ford is very high end, but I'm happy to say that this really delivers in terms of color story and formula and elegance. And then the last eyeshadow favorite is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Walk of No Shame. This is a beautiful, rusty, coppery peach tone. It can be sheared out for a really natural look or built up for more drama. It has that whipped, creamy, moussey consistency. It's just such a beautiful formula to work with. If you like the Tom Ford Creme and Powder duos, which are my favorite cream eyeshadows, they were developed when Charlotte Tilbury was the creative director at Tom Ford. So these have a very similar whipped, moussey feel, and they're pearlescent on the eyes. Then let's talk base. I have a concealer that's completely taken over my life. It's the Dior Backstage Concealer. I just did a demo of this in a YouTube video. I've done it on Instagram. You've seen me use it probably a few times by now. It is so good. It has this brush tip applicator that's quite small that prevents you from over applying the product, but lets you really spread it out across the under eye. The shade 2W is a beautiful match for me. It has this lovely golden undertone, and it's so thin and flexible and stretchy. So it's pigmented, but it has a lot of stretch. And what I mean by that is that 1 dot goes a long way without losing pigmentation. And it has a really creamy quality to it, but then it sets to a natural skin-like finish. This concealer will work, I think, for any skin type, honestly. I think even dry skin types will like this because it has a nice creaminess to it if you're looking for a long wear foundation. So I just can't rave about this enough. It's become my favorite concealer. Then I've pulled out an old favorite. This is the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Tinted Sunscreen. So this is a tinted sunscreen that comes in 14 shades from very light to very deep. Even though it's just 14 shades, I think this shade range is really well distributed and equitably distributed from the spectrum of very light to very deep. I wear the shade 30 PCH, which is a great golden undertone for me. And this is one of the few mineral tinted SPFs that I like. I find that it's really skin-like. It's the kind of thing that looks almost better on me throughout the day. It starts out dewy and then it becomes more skin-like throughout the day. It's so interesting. And the coverage is like a light medium, but it is actually buildable. For me, it covers up redness, it evens out my skin tone, it covers over light pigmentation. If you have sensitive skin, if you're sensitive to fragrance, if you have eczema, this is a great option. It has the seal of approval from the National Eczema Association and it's fragrance free. So it's just a great all-rounder, honestly. I do always wear this on top of my normal SPF, but I like to double up on coverage, especially in warmer months. I do wear this on top of my usual daily SPF, but I like to double up on SPF protection, especially going into warmer months. It's just nice to have that additional layer of broad spectrum SPF. Then I've got the Chantecaille Giraffe collection. I talked about these lipsticks, I think, on YouTube, but I have not talked about the Eye Quartet. This is the Chantecaille Spring Collection. It's limited edition, so it came with 2 lip cheeks. Well, actually, I think there are 3 or 4, but they sent me 2. I have the shade Freesia, which is a beautiful, like, mauvey pink, and then I have the shade Jasmine, which is a really fun peachy pink. But I did not get to show you the Giraffe Eye Quartet. It's just a beautiful neutral palette with a twist. So there's this matte camel shade, and then you have this twinkly white sparkle. It doesn't translate as white on the lids, it just gives you like a slight frosty look. And then you have a satin metallic warm brown, like a copper. And this shade is really interesting. It's like a taupe with a silvery lilac-y twist. So even though the base of this eyeshadow palette is neutrals and 2 warm neutrals, these 2 cooler shades on the side give it a bit of interest and a bit of flash and bling that you can build up if you want to accentuate that duochrome quality, or they can be really softened out for a natural look. And I think that's what Chantecaille does so well. They're really good at creating elevated basics that are still playful and fun, but they let you experiment with color and texture in a really subtle but sophisticated way. Then I've got one final lip product to round things out. This should be no surprise. It's the Dior Lip Glow in the shade Mahogany. So this is a tinted lip balm. It has a beautiful sheer tone to it. This lives in my bag now. It is the kind of thing I can throw on anytime, anywhere. So that is Dior Lip Glow in Mahogany. It has a rosy brown quality to it. It definitely pulls a little bit more rosy on my lip tone. But again, these are all so sheer that they look a little bit different on everybody. And I just love this formula. It has the tiniest hint of menthol, not anywhere enough that you even really notice it. Just something to note because I'm trying to be better about describing fragrances in lip products. So this is Dior Mahogany, this is Chantecaille Jasmine, and this is Chantecaille Freesia. The Chantecaille lip cheeks are really creamy and melty and shiny on the lips in terms of finish, whereas the Dior lip glows are not as shiny. They're more of a traditional tinted balm formula. So moving on to a few fashion items, I have to mention my 2 necklaces that I'm wearing right now. So these are from Daisy Jewelry, and they sent these over to me, and I have not stopped wearing them since. This first one is called the Goddess Snake Chain, and it's a traditional snake chain, but it has a bit of like an embossing on the metal. And this other necklace is the large open box chain necklace. So these are both gold plated. They're 18 karat gold plated. I love them both because they're statement but simple at the same time. I think these are both part of the Estée Lalonde collection that they designed in collaboration with Estée. This is just exactly the kind of jewelry I like to wear. I like something a little bit interesting but simple at the same time. Let me zoom you in. So this is the Goddess snake chain necklace. And then this is the large open box chain necklace. I really like wearing these together. I like them on their own. I like them layered with other pieces. It's just very much my kind of style in terms of everyday essentials that can be dressed up or dressed down. The next item may sound kind of boring, but those of you who get it will understand. I found the perfect white button-up shirt after trying so many over the last year. And believe it or not, I found it at Abercrombie, and Abercrombie's rebrand has caught me. I'll insert a picture of me wearing the poplin shirt here. It's just the perfect fit. I find that it is oversized but not too baggy. It doesn't make me completely lose my shape. I can wear it on its own, like open on top of a tank top. I can wear it buttoned up and tucked in, and it's not too stiff. It's not so much of a dress shirt. It's definitely meant to evoke a more casual vibe. So if you've also struggled with finding the perfect white shirt, I would check that out. It was one of my best sellers in March. I do have a new series called What My Followers Bought in March, or whatever the month is, and this was on that list. It's on the blog. I'll link that below. The last fashion item is something I shared in my last vlog. I did a full unboxing of my new LM raisin bag in the raffia colorway. This has brought me so much joy. It's so beautifully crafted. It's the perfect size. I won't get into all of the details, but it holds a lot. It's stuffed with tissue paper right now, but it's deceptively roomy and spacious. I've styled it a few different ways so far, and I love that it's something that dresses up or dresses down very easily, which is something that I look for in any investment, quote unquote, investment fashion piece. I want to get a lot of wear out of something, so I feel like this is definitely going to be worth it. I mean, I've only used it a few times, but I have confidence in its construction that it will be a durable piece in my closet. If you're curious about the designer, if you're curious about any of the other features or how it can be worn, how it can be styled, I will link you to the vlog where I go into detail about all of that. And then I've got a few lifestyle things to wrap up the video. The first is the new Savant candle in Mixed Feelings. So if you're not familiar with the new Savant, it is Ingrid Nilsson's candle company. Ingrid from YouTube, whom you all know, I'm sure. She started this company fairly recently and has been blending the most beautiful candles. She sent me a few of them to try in PR, which was so generous of her. This one is my favorite. So this is called Mixed Feelings, and it has notes of white jasmine, heather, steamed rice, and cedarwood bark. The feeling that it's supposed to evoke is blended identities, coming home to cooking rice, unconditional love from a grandmother, self-discovery, and living in the space in between. And the smell is floral, peaceful, and powerful. The candles come in these beautiful aluminum tins, and they have these little lids, which is really nice. And they're handmade in Brooklyn. The thing that I love about this candle is the story behind it. So Ingrid is part Thai, and her grandmother is Thai. And Ingrid's talked about the memories she's had of like coming home from school and her grandmother is cooking rice, and how she wanted to capture that in this candle. And I feel like it really does capture what is a very subtle and sophisticated and mellow scent. It also has those floral and woody notes, but ultimately I do think they complement the scent of rice. And I don't know how she did it, but I'm just so impressed by this candle. It made me feel emotional, and I lost my grandmother this month. She passed away in early March, which is why I took some time off. I haven't really talked about it here because I haven't been ready to, but this candle came into my life at the perfect time, at a time when I wanted to feel close to her. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to cry. But I grew up spending a lot of time with my grandmother in the kitchen, and there's something about this candle that helped me kind of remember and hold on to those happy memories. So it's been a really special thing to have at a time when I really needed it, and it really spoke to me, and it's brought me a lot of joy and comfort. I've got 2 movies and a book to close things out. I think we're in such an exciting moment of Asian diasporic cultural production. Specifically, I'm talking about Turning Red, which is Asian Canadian, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is Asian American, Asian, and both of them are Chinese diasporic stories as well. I just can't believe we're in a moment that centers Asian stories in such a meaningful and nuanced and complicated and rich way. I feel so excited that we get to experience these stories. I feel so excited that Asian women especially are on screen and are behind the screen and getting to write and tell their own stories without apology and without justification. They're obviously very different. Turning Red is animated, it's Pixar, it has that feel-good quality. I completely sobbed through it. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is a totally surrealist, absurd, multiverse story that also made me feel so much. And of course, it's always an incredible experience to see Michelle Yeoh take stage and also to see the story of a middle-aged Asian woman. Not someone who's objectified and sexy, but a story of an ordinary person finding her power is just remarkable. So if you haven't seen either of those, I totally recommend it. They will make you cry and make you feel so much, and they will break your heart and put it back together, and they're both beautiful. The last favorite is a book, and this book completely gripped me. It is so suspenseful. It's Vladimir by Julia May Jonas. So I heard about this, I think, on Twitter from Lisa Lucas, who's a publisher at Pantheon Books. She said something like, I am 10 pages into this book and I'm already so gripped by it. And I think I saw that tweet at a time when, like I mentioned, I'd been going through a hard time. I just wanted something to take me out of my own reality and suck me into a different world. So in comes Vladimir, which takes place at a university. I think it takes place at Skidmore. And it's a story about a professor who's the main character. Her husband is a professor. There's been a lot of recent controversy around him. And in comes this new hire in the English department where they teach, named Vladimir. And you know, the cover evokes a romance novel, but it's kind of a dark and ironic take on the genre. It's very smart. It's so cleverly written. The point of view is so interesting because you know that the narrator is not to be trusted. In a lot of ways, she's very unlikable, and yet she represents the voice of women of a certain age who are grappling with questions around cultural shifts, around sexual harassment, around gender dynamics, around sexuality, around middle age, around being a parent and a mother, and negotiating with power in a university setting. But it's also this really fascinating, fast-moving narrative that's totally unexpected. So if you're looking for like a fun, gripping read, I totally recommend it. I flew through it in a matter of days. So that's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.